Good afternoon and welcome, viewers around the globe, as we join our Day 2 coverage of the 2014 PDGA World Disc Golf Championships. I'm your host, Crazy John Brooks. We're about to join our 150 tee time group here. Our leaders in first place, of course, with an outstanding performance so far, Paul Ulibarri, and in second, Wysocki, of course, your Japan Open winner, Simon Lizotte of Germany, and Locastro will fill out the foursome. It's an exciting day of disc golf. We've just watched 4 players tee off on the very difficult number 1. It's segmented into 2 sections. There is a forced carry on the second shot, so it'll be very interesting to see how our players start off their day. Beautiful conditions here. Wind has quelled to around 5 miles an hour, if anything. There's an occasional spit or two of some precipitation. Forecasts were everything from 60-mile-an-hour winds last night with large hail expected into today's quell, as we mentioned, to leave temperatures in the middle 70s, so very pleasant conditions, and we're glad you can join us from around the globe. Our sponsors, the PDGA, Innova Disc Golf, UB Disc Golf, Dynamic Discs, and of course, the PDGA, our mother organization, bringing you this great production this week. You're watching live on discgolfplanetTV. Stay tuned, lots more of action to come. Our lead group will tee off momentarily. We'll be right back to join you shortly. A lot of excitement here. Stay tuned, folks. You're watching live on Disc Golf Planet. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Let's take a look at our group that just left the first tee. Of course, Brody Miller, familiar face here in the Portland area. Great player. Also has worked with the Disc Golf Planet crew before. Nate Doss, your 4-time World Disc Golf Champion, including a 25-throw juniors win at the age of 15. He laid a nice shot down the middle. And Michael Johansson, of course, of the 2012 show he put on in Charlotte was amazing. Chris Becker, another fresh face here in Eugene, Oregon, playing well and also dealing with conditions as we see the rain has become to set in here at the Trojan Park course. That will become a factor for all, including our crew. So we thank you for your patience. Coming up again, our lead group at -20, Paul Ulibarri, out of Phoenix, Arizona, very popular face and spirit on the tour. Wysocki, your very active player this year's tour with an amazing cash yield in the last 12 months. Ricky's just 1 throw behind Ulibarri. Simon Lizotte from Bremen, Germany, also with a great show at 104 and 2 throws out of second and tied. Nico Locastro, one of the more visible players here at the Worlds. We're about to start our live coverage, if you will, of our top group. So we hope you'll stand by for a great show. We'll be right back.
Hi everybody, I'm Dave Donapace and I'm here to talk to you a little bit about the new overmolds that we have in our lineup. The reason why we wanted to do it is because we wanted to marry two different kinds of plastics together. Basically a firm flight plate to give you good control and a grippy rim so that you could get a good whip and grip on your disc. Especially important for like windy days when if you have a kind of a soft grip, it would be very difficult to get a good hit on that disc in the wind with the softness of the material in the rims of these discs. We have basically three different kinds right now. We have one Nova putter and we have two different Atlases that are just slightly different from each other. The Star has a little bit softer flight plate, and its characteristic is a little bit straighter, slightly unstable, high speed in wind. And then the Champion is a little bit firmer and a little bit more stable. It's stable in a wind and it goes pretty straight. The characteristic of all three of these things is pretty straight flight characteristic, very accurate. I think the concept is...
Welcome back, viewers, to our Disc Golf Planet TV coverage of the World Championships. We're at Trojan Park. We're about to bring you the best in the business here. Our top foursome teeing off in moments. We hope you'll enjoy our coverage. We appreciate your patience with us, as well as Mother Nature's participation. Things just got a little wet. So stick around, share the news. You can find live scoring at PDGAlive.com. That's a big benefit. PDGAlive.com for live scoring. It's a big benefit. Thanks for joining us on the planet. Coming up, our lead group.
With the 150 tee time from Phoenix, Arizona, Paul Ulibarri.
Not an easy hole. It's about a 310-foot space to land it in front of the huge downed tree. Ulibarri takes a wet skip. They took a hard left and went down.
South Carolina, Ricky Wysocki.
That'll be a very tricky discovery there. Right, Wysocki now keyed up. Remember, the wet grass and wet conditions will provide a little faster acceleration after contact's made with the ground. Straight down the middle. And right in that nice pocket.
Bremen, Germany, Simon Lizotte.
Simon, another sensation here in our newest generation of super players, Uber players, if you will, from Bremen, Deutschland. Very proud son, Frank. A great addition to the sport. He's got to finish left. Oh, he just caught a little bit of that tree on the last right side.
Grass Valley, California, Nico Locastro.
And newsmaker, ground shaker, Nico Locastro. Raring to fly out of the chutes. Turning right. It'll check up a little early before that sidewalk, and our lead group is off, ladies and gentlemen. What an exciting afternoon. Our conditions are changing as we speak. We also have a number of players that are on a run, if you will. Most of our qualifiers this year, a great number coming out of Oregon, so quite a benefit to know the local courses. They're extremely unique in their design and their challenge. So Trojan certainly no exception. Some of our vistas you'll enjoy today are epic as we look in the backdrop. That is the second half, if you will, of the fairway of number 1. 633 feet separating our players from the pin, perched on the precipice of the huge green that awaits. Ulibarri, as we mentioned, excuse me, I'm going to clarify this with our audience. When in America, Paul's last name will be pronounced Ulibarri. If we were in Spain, nation of origin, it would be pronounced Ulibarri. So, thank you. Locastro taking a consult. This drive is right at about the 300-foot mark, so that's going to leave Locastro with a little over 300 for the balance. Notice those low-hanging branches without leaves, right where he wants to penetrate. Plenty of distance. Just sticks to the tip of that peninsula. Nice effort. 11 uphill, slightly obstructed putt, but nonetheless, he's made the carry. Check that, it's 614 total distance. Lizotte now, eyeing the right half of the green. Nicely managed. Could even be just a bit deep on the backside of this manicured green. It's about 150 feet left to right distance, but only 30 to 40 feet deep. So deceleration, very key. Wysocki. We'll take a look. Water surrounding the entire girth of the peninsula. Going left early. And I mean, that's got to be real close. That took a very unique skip, if you will. Once the ground is left with the glaze of the rain on it, we'll start to see some much more dynamic skips and expires once the disc makes contact. We'll get up to Ulibarri. We see that he's landed safe, but he's tucked back around the corner and is snookered from a direct line to the pin. He'll have to walk 30 feet or so to the right just to get a glimpse. We'll have about 290 to 80 left. It's about a 6 to an 8 foot elevation from his lie to the green. Nice sized group of patrons following our leaders. Excuse me, our leader and outstanding foursome. Literally no breeze from inside the pocket where Ulibarri's located. He caught a little bit of that tree. It's got to get over. Oh, he makes it over. He's just on the edge of the green. Still about, I would say about 55 to 60 feet. Maybe a little bit more out. But, hey, it's a par 4. You use it or lose it. Watching our top group commence their way around a long walk to make it to the green. walk to the pin is actually about the same distance as the hole itself, so we'll have a good chance to catch some more of our approaching holes. Number 2 right in front of us. Our patrons will make a little comfort spot there while we finish on the first hole. Today's coverage brought to you by UB Disc Golf. Has some crazy commercials out there. Check them out. Those wild and crazy minds behind UB Disc Golf. Fry one up. And Dynamic Discs. I was able to catch Jeremy Roscoe in the lobby of the awesome Monarch Hotel and Convention Center, which is our hub for the week for players and staff. A beautiful complex. Very hospitable staff. All the amenities you could imagine. And Jeremy proud to possibly join us during the week here to announce some of the new products coming out, as well as some of the plans for Dynamic Disc. Growing the game, they really got it going on. We reach the entry to the green of number 1. As you see, a long, narrow strip. Players and caddies getting organized. Never more important to have the handle on your time management, breathing. Expectations need to be left at a minimum before you step to the first tee. Ulibarri on the Discovery. The white flag placed by our spotter. As we mentioned, Ulibarri from about 60 feet. I'll tell you folks, I'm not sure how that didn't go in. What a great line. No wobble. Just glanced by on the pro side. Easy par for Ulibarri. And we see that excellent result for Wysocki, just about 15, 16 feet away. He'll have that for birdie. Simon throwing next from about the 33-foot line. Just short, difficult visual experience for the first hole, but he'll wipe it clean. Just turned 21 a few months ago at the Collegiates in North Augusta. Here's Locastro. And an easy birdie, and just inside Locastro. Again, that CTP approach by Wysocki. Great start. Good info to have your eyes and head take in on your first hole. Concentration at a premium here with the distractions. And again, the talent, the best in the business here. Our top 10 players, all capable of winning the Worlds. Great display, good start, very solid. This is the way it's all done here. Our top players in the world amassed. Approaching hole number 2. You're watching live on the planet.
Disc golf is in the air. PDGA.com.
I'm going to wait till Terry gets his position, John. Precipice, if you will. There's a sidearm skip, and it is parked. Our spotter will declare. Locastro will no doubt try and better that, as he does every shot. Difficult deceleration process there with a little bit of glaze on the fairways. And it's turning over a little bit, a little deep. And we'll skip down to the edge of the manicured part of the green in the first cut, if you will, the fringe, just a couple feet into the higher grass. Ulibarri off. That's deep also, coming right at our camera and virtually next to Locastro. Simon Lizotte. We'll take a look. That's coming in well short. And that's going to get a red flag for Simon. Out of bounds and still about 40 feet back. Maybe a little less than that, but just outside the circle. Difficult look at it with another bit of a challenge behind the pin. So well-designed holes. And again, we look around at our players, our patrons, and the beautiful landscape here at Trojan Park. It is just a moving sight. The water hazard will play havoc for most of our holes today. This, of course, amongst a fairly promoted sustainable industrial park here in the area. And our signature Douglas firs in full display, and very common sight, of course, on the Oregon license plates. Always a familiar sight, a beautiful one as well. Mother Nature has truly laid her hand on this area of the world. Our spotter now indicating the exit point for Lizotte. Again, Wysocki real tight on the pin. Ulibarri and Locastro virtually resting next to each other. If we go back to Lizotte, this is for par. just a bit high for the Deutz. Here we are with Ulibarri's uphill putt. And just high for Ulibarri's birdie attempt. Locastro now from an identical distance and set up. May go to the straddle. Very extensive warm-up for Locastro this morning. Probably a solid hour on the putting green, as he does so often. Very particular about maintaining the routine. Castro also will take it low. Bit of the uphill slope. Could have played a bit of an inhibitor on that. But again, just only 2 holes in, Wysocki. We'll have to wait for the Ulibarri par. And Locastro too will shoot, it looks like, as Ricky has put it, just under the shadow. Couple of disappointing pars, but again, it's an early start. Lizotte will have to suffer the first bogey of the round. It's only 1 throw. That's part of the game. Wysocki again sticking to suit. Keep that checklist intact and stick to your game plan. You're watching live on Disc Golf Planet. We'll move on to hole 3 in just a minute. It's all brought to you by the PDGA and Innova Disc Golf. We'll be right back. And welcome to hole 3, ladies and gentlemen. Another tricky shot with the forced carry over the body of water here. 425 feet. The pin's located on a grass island, totally surrounded by trees. There's a screaming flick coming out right at it. Ladies and gentlemen, it's parked. It's probably as far away as Ricky's hat is from his shoes. Locastro hopefully has learned not to carry that miss with him to the next tee, but look at this one to come out fading left to right. He's got to watch out for the glaze factor. Turning a little quick. And that's going to get a green flag. He's just on the edge of the out of bounds pavement there, so lucky result. Ulibarri also with that disappointing visual on 2. This basically will add a skip. He's fairly accurate with those up to and in strategies, following the sidewalk line right at it. It's absolutely perfect. Well, I guess perfect would be in. Great effort. Simon now looking to mount some type of a charge, develop a rhythm. Simon Lizotte, wir sehen uns im Finale, Bruder. Beautiful fade. Look at it flex out. caught some tree, and I hope I didn't nice Simon, but that will remain in the out of bounds. Fairly steady light sprinkle taking place here at Trojan. Umbrellas starting to pop out almost as frequently as the sound of the chains being hit in our course. We played by the top open players here today, Wednesday, August 13th, 2014. I'd like to take a moment and share a bit of respect with you, if you will. I made a point yesterday not to mention this particular anniversary, but to simply refer to it having passed. But I'd like to let all of you know that the father of disc golf, Steady Ed Hedrick, just a few years ago, on August 12th, unfortunately passed away, leaving this earth, moving on to the Frisbee planet. But with all of our love and our energy and our positive that we can send you, Steady, and Farina, I'd like to just again say thank you, and we love you, and thank you for making our lives so much more exciting through disc golf. So, you see Lizotte with the mark next to the white flag, our spotter, all over that. We'll take a knee, it looks like. Still about 70 feet to the pin. Oh, right in front. Now, I'm telling you, he's got a lot of acceleration in that snap. He'll be looking at another 4 circle. Got a couple great tee shots to show you up here. Ulibarri, we mentioned, skipping up nice and tight. Wysocki's sidearm just looked like it was going to go in. Looks like Ulibarri was able to hit the actual asphalt curb and kick him back almost 20 feet from where he would have been landing. He's just right on the 28-foot mark. Yeah. Right over the edge. I mean, just real beautiful rhythm. Wait for it, and that's what you get. Castro stayed in the spot where he checked up next to the curb. Very similar distance. Stand corrected on Ulibarri's. That was 34 feet. Here's Locastro from an identical distance. This for birdie. And just staying out in front on the amp side there. That'll come to rest about 15 feet behind. Wysocki will have to wait. Ulibarri already off to the 4th tee. Business as usual. Lizotte for 4. And Wysocki again with that well-placed tee shot. Hey, he's got some rhythm going. That's what it's like here in Portland, Oregon. We're actually in closer to the town of Rainier. And it's an exciting day, folks. It's just early on in our round, just completing hole 3. This is the World Championships. Thanks to our viewers and our sponsors around the globe. We'll be right back. We'll see you on hole 4. Wysocki beginning to assemble a rhythm after the birdie on 3 and 2 and 1. There's another one. Really playing that skip angle well. Paul Ulibarri on the tee. Coming in right at it. And that'll hit that second tree. It's taking a little bit of a roll. All in birdie territory down there. It's about a 10-foot drop off to the base of the pin from the fairway height. Locastro coming in a little wide with that skip angle, and that's just not going to get enough, a little too much angle for it to trapeze down the slope. And Simon Lizotte wanting to start some type of combustion. Goes out really wide, and again we'll have trouble gaining that skip angle advantage down the slope. Mentioned the conditions, on and off sprinkling, if you will, and a very wooded course, but some of these fairways carved out so beautifully. Landscape here, very challenging. Ideal for disc golf, we would say, listening to Drew Mahalik at the opening ceremonies, the CEO of the Oregon Sports Authority, claiming to want to perpetuate and permanently establish a home for disc golf here in Oregon, which they have done so tastefully. Hats off to Todd Andrews and our tournament staff and committee. All the very generous sponsors involved. Thank you. I want to thank Tom Elder also for some support for our camera crew, having what one of our crew needed when he needed it. A little energy bar. You never know what the premium will be. In that case, players now approaching the green. Caddies as well. We have Lizotte back outside the circle at about 35, 38 feet. Downhill. Coming out left. Didn't have maybe enough snap on it. Wysocki now. Feet just into the first cut of rough from about 22 feet. Wind is off his left shoulder. A little bit of a breeze there that's going to affect that nose down putt, but very rare pickup for Wysocki for par here in the start out. Locastro wanting to bust a move. Have some traffic approaching, so Locastro be doing the wise thing. And very kindly, our staff approaching the vehicle there. No problems. Not to interrupt the flow. And we've got another vehicle that will exit here in a moment. Locastro taking a moment, and he will let this second vehicle stay, so he's going to choose to putt. It's about an 18-footer, 19 feet. So that is a rare back-to-back low putt for two of our outstanding players. Ulibarri taking it all in. Lizotte will putt again before our leader. We'll approach. Just. Thank you. Now we see the Ulibarri result here, about 8 feet for birdie. A simple release, and he will card a back-to-back. Great putt, moving from about the 40-foot range down to a 10-footer. I think he likes that trend. You're watching live coverage, folks. We've just completed 4 holes for our top 4 men's pro open players. We're going to take a brief break to walk to the 5th tee. We'll be right back. You're enjoying live coverage of the Worlds right here on Disc Golf Planet. Four, 3. And the Ulibarri drive. He's laying up, 575 foot, par 4. There's 4 par 4s in the Trojan layout, only 1 par 5. Wysocki able to get way around the turn if he chooses to do so. Nice placement there. Just a gentle slope for the approach. Locastro taking a lazier approach to leave him not quite so behind the 2 trees, less penetration, well placed. Lizotte playing in a lot of pressure packed groups this year, checking out a little slippage on the tee. He's going to try and roll around the corner. And he made it around those 2 guardian trees. That's an exceptional design by the young Lizotte. Mounting a charge here on number 5. We mentioned 575 feet, a great distance to navigate. It's a par 4, so we watched our players with these premium placed tee shots, not getting too close to the obstacle. You'll see a little throat collapse on the fairway as we approach the 350-foot mark. Have an accelerated dogleg left, so our viewers will enjoy. Wysocki has stayed back from these 2 locusts, you see, closest to us on the right half. And so I think we'll be looking at a fairly basic skip off the side of the right half, the slope that you see next to the road, and trickling down the hill. The toughest part of this green, we do have a bit of a gate at the front, as you see the large, huge hickory out in front of the green. Don't want to get snookered by that. About 320 feet left. And still a bit short for Wysocki. Again, a little more angle on the shot. Having hit the slope is going to allow it to skip a little further, get the nose up in the air. Locastro is going to wait for some traffic to pass. is some room for a sidearm around the left side. It depends on player's choice, but the safer route this early in the round will be out and wide to the right. Just a very difficult tangent for Locastro. He'll have to really overthrow this. He's going to have to get it by about halfway up that locust tree. Right on line, plenty of distance. Maybe a little deep. Looks to have stayed in that, within the circle anyway. It could be a little deep though. Great read, just a little, maybe a little strong. Some great play going on here, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for joining us. And give a shout out to Speedy Guerrero. Here's Ulibarri wasting no time at all. Again, that could be a little deep. It's going to skip right by the pin. And could have checked up by one of the larger trees. Speedy Guerrero, though, in Augusta, Georgia, of course, the founder and proprietor to the Disc Golf Hall of Fame. Very wonderful asset to the International Disc Golf Center in Appling, Georgia. Speedy unable to be with us on tomorrow evening's Hall of Fame induction, where two absolutely wonderful personalities will be inducted. Don Wilczek out of Houston, Texas, longtime champion in the NAS Tour days, and another giver of the game, if you will. Spent a lot of time teaching, has brought a lot of our great players into the game as well. Lizotte now is going to take a knee. Still has about 200, I'm going to say just about 180 left to the pin. But again, laden with trees between he and the green. A little bit of a skip, a little flick skip. It's just that easy. Here's Lizotte. A little shallow take back, and it comes up short. But that's why they call it golf. Up to and in. Back to the Hall of Fame and Thursday's festivities. You know, of course, our PDGA Awards banquet, where a lot of our standouts will be recognized. And Jim Oates, the second young man to be inducted into the Disc Golf Hall of Fame. It's another great story of payback. And Jim, of course, authoring many different, some of the more quotable lines in disc golf over the year, playing proudly out of La Mirada in the early days, and then finding a comfortable home away from home, if you will, in the Northern California area. Congratulations to our 2014 inductees. Back at Locastro. Putt's got to feel much longer than it is. Oh boy, got a little bit of the steady nub there. And that's another chance to accelerate for Locastro past. Looking back now at the Wysocki distance, it's even from here about 25, 28 feet. Looks like right at 28 feet. So this for birdie. Wysocki finding the groove, midsection and right. It's got to feel good. Ricky maintaining a pace with that birdie mentality. Downhill now for Ulibarri. Very different challenge. He's got to weave it in between two trees. He's right at 25 feet. Oh boy, hit the top rail. Seemed to have all the right juice except for maybe his head popped up a bit. Here's Lizotte. Really needs a par. Go in here. Whew, right in the center. Excuse me, that will be for the Lizotte birdie. So great way to throw the eraser away on that. Hole 5 will yield for Lizotte. Almost successful birdies for Ulibarri and Locastro and Wysocki. There's the par for Locastro. So different set of circumstances here. Our shots at a premium as well as strategy, folks. Get it together, comfy up, go get something else to drink, turn another pot of coffee on. We're going to hole 6 in just a moment. You're watching the World's live on the planet. Four, 3. And welcome back to beautiful Trojan Park, ladies and gentlemen, here in Oregon for our Day 2 coverage of the Worlds. We're joining our top men's group, Ricky Wysocki, of course, with a few early birdies. Simon Lizotte lately just scored on number 5 with a great 3 on the par 4. And a couple of difficult shots coming up. 625 feet from tee to pin with a very large forced carry, so there will be a couple of strategic fairways to hit. The first one, as you see in front of you now, this long body, about 400 feet in distance from our camera lens to our players. And I believe I stand to be corrected that Lizotte took par. So Wysocki staying out well to the left, but it's cutting back towards the tangent of the trees. That's well placed. Probably has already prescribed the distance for the second shot, but strategy, great display. My scorecard next. Simon. And there's Ulibarri following that trace of the Lizotte tee shot, a little tighter. Spotters prepared at all instants. Locastro to tee 4th. Looking for that to flex out. And a little slow. It's a little tight. He's going to have a little bend to that second shot as he crosses the water to the green. Again, a par 4, 633 feet. We're in the midst of our day 2 coverage. This is the 3rd round for our men's open players. So leading off today's round, Paul Ulibarri at -20, followed by Ricky Wysocki at -19. That's right, just one throw behind. In tied for 3rd, Simon Lizotte of Wemmen, Germany, and Nico Locastro, both at -17. I'd like to thank our sponsors, UB Disc Golf. Of course, some interesting and creative individuals behind that line of products, and as well as Dynamic Discs. Again, we've mentioned the powerhouse of talent as well as innovation that's coming out of that Emporia, Kansas think tank. So hats off to Jeremy Roscoe and an award-winning staff, producers of the Glass Blown Open as well as the Am World Championship. So a very capable group of disc golf uber promoters at Dynamic Disc. Thank you. We'll take a little closer look as we see Lizotte will be the first to approach. And as we see in a moment, we'll take a look at the basket. Off and across the water. Approximately 320 from the Lizotte position. And Lizotte not going to be pleased with that. Ulibarri, we're probably right at about 320. So Lizotte would have been at about 335. He's up higher on the hill, as you see. Players probably having to be careful to make the decision for an uphill or a downhill putt, and to take the sidewalk out of play. Ulibarri will choose to take the downhill orientation. Locastro will treat this like an ace. So all intents and purposes, he's probably going right at it. That backdrop behind the pin, there's really no other reason other than timid. So he'll have to travel and not get into it tight as he would like. Not an easy shot by any means, folks. Wysocki adding a little more distance, so he's just under 300 feet. It's a fairly basic flick lawn dart for the tall one. That's just great golf right there. Wysocki puts it within reach. Folks, we mentioned yesterday the very saddening, most recent news of the passing of our dear comedian and mensch and giver, incredible force behind the St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital mission to take care of these lovely children. But Robin Williams has left us in this life, has moved on. We'd like to send family, friends, and of course, all of the fans around the world a note of sympathy and our deepest regard from the planet and the sport of disc golf. We bless you and your family. And also the unfortunate news yesterday of 89-year-old actress, Academy Award winner Lauren Bacall, also moving on to the next stage of her existence. Our sympathy and regards. Now you can really check out the distance and the elevation of these putts. It's a bit of a flat spot that the pin is located, but Now you see the much deeper body of grass here to approach the green. Players had to skip up to it. They're just a little juiced right now, ready to throw it a mile. Here's Lizotte for birdie. Oh boy, he needed that. And so be it, the trend has begun for Lizotte. Ulibarri, virtually same distance. And he got that one over. Let go in time. Just holding on to that last second of number 5's putt. That's all that kept him high. Locastro like to match suit. Move on with a star birdie. Boy, Locastro starting to exude some steam, so we'll see how it can hold on to his composure. Wysocki with that tap in birdie. That's going to be 4 awkward misses for Locastro. Certainly nothing to be jarred by, so we hope he can notice the same. Move on to the next hole. This is an exciting day in disc golf, folks. It's day 2 of the World Championships, thanks to our generous gallery. Our compliments, the kind words, and you at home with your comments and support. We'll be right back. Moving on to hole 7 here at Trojan Park.
I've been asked from time to time over the years, what is the big bead about on various discs that we have? The first disc that we had the bead on was the Classic Rock, which was made in approximately 1986. And the reason why we put the bead on that disc and big bead putters and spiders and other discs that we do is to keep the disc stable for longer. A lot of people think it's to make the disc more stable, and it's not. And it never has been. It's to keep the disc stable for a longer period of time. Plus, a lot of people like the fact that it's a little bit rounder on the bottom edge than the no bead, and it feels more comfortable to them. Other people don't think it does, so they don't like that big bead. But it is to retard the wearing of the disc, not to make the disc more stable. So now you know the secret of the bead.
In the air. Join the excitement at PDGA.com.
What's up, pal?
How's that knee treat you? How's that knee treat you?
I had them both replaced.
both?
100%. Brand new life. Them for their sportsmanship and cooperation with our cameras here at the Planet, trying to bring our viewers the most compelling images. That's a big rip by Wysocki. It's going to carry the entire distance. Pin high, folks. 505, pin high, just about 45 off to the right. Outstanding display. Perfect conditions. See the keen footwear banners giving way to the gentle, assisting breeze. Here's Lizotte, equally capable. He's flipped it over a little early. Ouch. That is going to be inbounds as you see the green flag notification. It's a world of relief there. Paul Ulibarri playing with much gusto yesterday and has come out here with great composure today. Also flipped it a bit early without enough elevation. It's going to be close, but he'll get a green flag. Wysocki does not have an impossible line of access to the pin either. Here's Locastro after a disappointing par. And again, over early and needs to travel to get over that water. And that'll make it. So all four of our players safe on this huge number 7 fairways. You see the orientation, they're walking along a left to right downward slope. So many elements of gravity, as well as the distance challenge itself. It's quite a lot to ask. A great design here. I'm going to give way to our second group there on the tee. Will remain invisible to them. Chris Becker on the tee on our left, so we kind of got some shared action here. Beautiful day for disc golf. It's great running into Bill Kelton, formerly of Leonberg, Germany. Bill and I have been able to meet many times on the Euro Tour in the 90s with sister Ava and family in tow. Carol, Bill, family, Frisbee family, if you will. Wysocki now making it around the corner. He's going to take that walk so we can check out the physical lies of Locastro, Lizotte, and Ulibarri, not having made the climb up to the green level. He will again have an unobstructed view at the pin for eagle. Oh, excuse me. It's a par 3 at only 505. Keep going, Terry. Thank you for those of you at home for joining us. It's really something when you're up next to the players. They got the energy going, man, I'm telling you. So Locastro will have about 140 feet. It's just an approach. Put it in the hula hoop. Gonna go past just a tad. Nothing wrong with that. Lizotte will address next. About 125 feet. And that's going left early. That's not even going to be inside the circle, barely, so 25 still left for Lizotte. So Ulibarri safely inside. Yeah, we'll take a look at this long birdie attempt for Wysocki. He's been known to make some of these and light a fire within the foursome. So Ricky Wysocki from 60 feet for birdie after a pin high drive on the 505 number 7. Diving right at it. That'll stay within 15. There's some exciting news to share also during our broadcast week with Jonathan Poole, the co-founder and event director, mastermind behind the United States Disc Golf Championships. Here's Lizotte for a par save and gently over the top rail. But Jonathan will speak to some exciting news for one lucky player out there to potentially attend and participate in this year's USDGC. Here's Wysocki for the comeback. Imagine not have a chance to move, but as history will have it, I was in the line for Locastro. Hopefully didn't distract. So maybe some speedy play. Again, the tension can mount early on in the third round. My apologies to the Locastro camp if I did distract. Our camera's kind of taking you up close and personal, folks, with our top men disc golfers. I'd like you to rejoin our show shortly as well. Spread the word. Tell your friends all about it. Go to discgolfplanet.tv, PDGA.com. There you can click on for the join the live stream, or as well, if you're already on with us and like to enjoy the live scoring, go to PDGAlive.com. Hope you're enjoying the show. We'll move on to number 8 in just a moment. Thank you. You're watching live on Disc Golf Planet. Going right through the goalposts. Oh, caught a little bit of an early tree, but it stayed safe. You're literally trying to throw it through the garage door, basically. You have a clear visual access to the pin. Lizotte, loaded and locked. There's a great shot from Lizotte. And here's Ulibarri going plenty to the left, and again, valeted it right up next to the pin. Locastro looking to wipe that last 1+ off the card. It's got to get legs. Got to get legs to get over that fence. Oh boy, that came up short. It's going to get a red flag. And we'll need to mark, I believe, all the way back at the entrance to the out of bounds. So we'll check out the Locastro placement in a moment here as I make my way up to the green. Thank you. Thank you, spotter. We have a drop zone on number 8. It's going to be to the very left edge of the fairway from the tee's vantage point. So Locastro taking a walk around. Our gallery growing steadily. Locastro, very basic approach to within 8 feet. So great shot. He'll have that left for a 4. 325 the distance. You kind of stand a bit surprised that Locastro didn't reach that entry point to the green, but nonetheless, he's the one in the group, not me. Wysocki, 35 feet from underneath the branches. Both feet buried in the ivy. Oh boy, got it up in the air. What a great touch from a difficult distance. Lizotte will have a fairly simple putt for his birdie. And that's in. Great shot for the Deutsche Spieler. And Ulibarri with the CTPT shot. Got to be happy with that. And Locastro closes out that unfortunate 4. That completes number 8. We're going to move on in just a moment. You're watching live on the Planet.
Disc golf is in the air. Join the excitement at PDGA.com.
still have the Doss Miller group still to shoot. There's Big Beth from 40. Yeah, cool. And we join you now from the 9th fairway. Looking back at Chris Becker on the tee. 390-foot par 3 here, a downhill fairway. Slow slope anyway to the green. Nice open little terrace where the pin is located. Otherwise, very low ceiling, very minimal aerial route to the green. There's a low glider by Becker. Well done. Still about 75 feet out. It's a basic result here on number 9. Nate Doss with that signature pull of the sleeve will tee next. Very proud Bend, Oregon residents engaged to Valerie Jenkins of the first family of disc golf. Oh, Doss just caught the center tree there. But, hey, about the same distance as Becker. Shout out to Mark Carlskind and Barbara Carlskind here in Oregon, enjoying having the Worlds out in their neighborhood. MJO, here's Michael Johansson. It's matching suit with Doss if he can get through that gap. And found the same branch manager job open. Brody Miller. That came out real low, even took a little bit of a skip. But again, in the cluster, and that will send them on to the fairway here, number 9. Wooded, but shorter distance of a hole. 390 feet. For some is a simple air shot, but with the low ceiling, multiple trees here in the fairway. Challenge is fairly obvious. And in the backdrop, we have Rico. Steve Rico amongst the group playing under the Legacy banner. MJO, if you remember the great show at the Charlotte Worlds. Looks like Miller is watching, so MJO will throw first. And there's that 1, 2, 3. Nicely done. And it did look like a lot of thought went into that. He caught some fairly obvious branches hanging down in the path. So the wind off of our left player's left shoulder. It's picked up a little bit. Doss, one of the great approachers of the game, likes to slide it up tight. No reason to go for anything like this. And he's got a separate event going on in his head and his body, doing those approach shots like he does. That comes from playing those slippery slopes of De La Viega. Shout out Santa Cruz, home of the 2011 World Championships, where Doss gave another great show. Over to Chris Becker. That almost actually went in. Looks like he was giving it a chance with that a bit of extra concentration. Those of you not able to join us for this week's event, we appreciate your joining us through the miracles of the interweb. We're watching Brody Miller line up on this about 40 feet separating him from that top rail of the basket and lead this for his par 3. Had the speed, but not enough height. Never up, never in. But we hope you're allowing other folks to enjoy our coverage. If you have internet and develop a very simple login, and you're as good as gold. Don't forget about our live scoring offering from the PDGA. Just visit pdgalive.com. Up-to-date scoring thanks to Tom Elder again, Sarah Nicholson, of course, providing our live scoring. Candace, very tough job. Can't stop for a moment. You just can't let up. That completes number 9 for our second card. We're going to take a glance back as our tee is ready to go for the top group. Give a moment for our gallery to clear. Patrons following both first, second, and third card. About 100 folks out and about watching our stars of the game. Ricky Wysocki will take to the tee first. 390-foot par 3. Very low ceiling the entire distance. The first open space above 10 feet is above the basket and about 30 feet in front. Sidearm, low glider, can skip right up to it. And there's Wysocki at about 18 to 20 feet for bird. That super advanced flick that Wysocki possesses. That's probably going to get him in the history books. Lizotte, after the birdie on 6, 7, and 8. Mounting a bit of attack. Has turned it over a bit. There's an oak out in the middle. And he slides by the tree and safely out in front, about 80 feet. This morning's leader, Ulibarri, mounting the tee. Locastro having to watch, design his shot. He too will have a chance to right his ship. There's the Ulibarri release. Not quite as much skip as he'd like. Our cameraman T. Roddy right there on the he was doing some frisbee yoga there to get out of the way. Here's Locastro now, as we said, wanting to get back on track. Look for a backhand version of the Wysocki flight. And that's just what you'll get, folks. About the same distance, maybe closer than Wysocki. But again, great result for Locastro. Like to give a shout out to Rich Dobson out in Rock Hill, South Carolina. Of course, the master pilot behind the octocopter and our insane aerial coverage that we have featured time and time again here on the planet. Also, Rich Dobson's work featured at last week's PGA Championships in Valhalla. Some of the most dynamic footage of the broadcast was used, of course, all to the design of Rich Dobson. Shout out. Hello to Rome, Riker. Hope you're doing great and enjoying the show. Ulibarri and Wysocki now getting a glance of that glimmer of the plastic on the green. Ulibarri again with checked up a little short, maybe about 30 feet shorter than he was imagining. Lizotte, I believe, will shoot first. So, Locastro and Wysocki are up close. Ulibarri is here, and Lizotte waiting to throw till these tee shots on number 10 are completed. Joe throwing out over the water. He's got to get up. Going right at the spotter, too, and he just barely stays in play. Lizotte out of Bremen, Deutschland. Proud son of Frank Lizotte. Another fantastic Uber promoter in the game. As we are prepared to watch our lead group putt on number 9, the breeze has picked up a little bit. We probably have a minimum of 5 miles an hour, steady. Our lens looking at the pin now. The wind is, for our viewers, from the left to the right. Lizotte again, 75 feet downhill for 2. High enough. Oh, boy, great line these kids are throwing. Ulibarri will take no risk at all with that headwind. So just under 60 feet to the pin. There's that step in Hosfeld putt, and he lays it over the edge. Ulibarri on a mission. Safe to say that he Ulibarried that one. Wysocki. About 20 feet, safe to say, dead into the wind. Right in at the pole, skims to the left half. It's basically the ideal flight, how Steady had designed the basket to handle the disc. Here's Locastro. Take another one of the ill-fated putts of previous off the card. And that was actually low and left, so not much of a correction, but again, Locastro knows what he's doing. Got to sometimes check the inner athlete and make sure that it's doing as well as the outer. And moving on, next to a very exciting hole coming up, number 10, folks. You're watching our top group putt out as Simon Lizotte closes out number 9. We'll be right back. Coming up next, the exciting number 10. We'll be right back. Of the world's Ricky Wysocki loading up a flick here. It's a 457-foot hole from tee to pin, although water will cover 350 feet of the fairway. Skipping safely up and on, too. Is that going to avoid the path? Oh, boy. Looks to be 50-50. And I think he got a red flag. He's walking that one off. Great throw. It's, again, a tailwind. Here's Ulibarri. Backhand. He's going to flex it over onto the fairway and back left. Look at that. That is sweetness. That could be inside the circle. Locastro. Nice birdie on 9. Don't know that Nico has actually thrown a perfect shot yet. Looking to find the groove. Much more aggressive line, but right. That is going to get a red flag. So Locastro slowing his pace again. Lizotte. Slipped a bit on the tee. That is cutting back left, ideally. And safely up. Some very unique hole designs here at the Trojan. The traffic of Highway 30. Somewhat mellow. It's not like you have ambulance and emergency response vehicles going up and down like you would maybe at Brookside Park in Cincinnati or Indianapolis, but very mellow mood, if you will, that can kind of seep into things. Playing competitive golf, you've got to stay focused on 2 things here in Oregon. The beauty and the moment. Vast area of space utilized for disc golf. Another compliment to the success of Oregon and how they're embracing the game. Wysocki's already up on his mark. As we mentioned, the red flag for he and Locastro. Still has about 80 feet, 70 to 80 feet of space between he and the pin, so. For some, for the right-handers, if you are going to run it, there's a slope away to the water and downhill, so that could put gravity on the bad side of the tracks. Lizotte will shoot first. It's his second shot. Very makeable distance for this young Deutz Uberspieler. Nice touch. As our viewers can appreciate, Locastro has a very large oak trunk that is covering up most of the bottom half of the target. It could affect the distance perception. About 60 feet right on the mark. To save par. Oh, just underneath. Wysocki from 50 with the same setup obstruction. Because of that slope left, he'll pull that left foot back, add a little more hyzer. See that signature step out. Looked like that didn't get enough height out of the hand, but nonetheless, that'll be a easy bogey save. Ulibarri. The super shot skipped off of the pavement. into the fairway and directly into the chest plate of that disc golf target. Paul Ulibarri with a solo birdie. Lizotte will tap for par 3. Locastro and Wysocki will settle for a bogey due to the out-of-bounds throw. Never up, never in, folks. It's live disc golf. You're watching the best there is live here at the World Championships. We'll be right back. Coming up, the exciting hole 11 right here on Disc Golf Planet.